Hey guys, welcome back to Meghan Grace DIY. Today's video is going to be part of our Back to Basics series. Back to Basics videos are short tutorials on one technique that you may use in a bigger project. Today, I'm going to show you how to sew on a snap closure. A snap closure consists of a male and a female end. This type of closure is used when you need a very strong hold, but also need to be able to undo that hold very quickly. I use snaps whenever an actor has to do a quick change, since the tearing of Velcro can often be picked up by the microphone. I'm going to start by showing you how to sew on the male end. I'm going to thread a regular sewing needle doubled over with a knot at the end. I've got my male snap in the place that I want it, so I'm going to go ahead and pick it up and hold it in place with my thumb. I'm starting by taking a small bite of the fabric with the needle and pushing my needle through the hole. After pulling my thread all the way through, I'm going to go back and repeat this step. Now when I'm pulling through for the second time, I want to pause when there's a small loop of thread left. I'm going to take my needle and slip it through that loop and then continue to pull. And what this does is creates a knot in the loop that I've made around my snap. I'm going to repeat these steps about 4 times per hole in the snap. Since we always want our sewing to be as neat as possible, the knots should line up one after the other. Creating the knots in the loops helps the snap stay in place longer, especially if it's going to go through quite a bit of use. Now to move on to the next hole, we're going to take our needle and slip it underneath the snap, picking up just a bite of fabric and going through the next hole. You should not be able to see a line of thread going from hole to hole on the other side of the fabric. Remember, our goal is to be as neat as possible. I'm going to speed things up here and I'm going to repeat all the steps we just learned on the next hole of the snap. You can see here how the knots that I've made go one after the other. They don't pile on top of each other, creating a big knotty mess of thread. Now that you've gotten the procedure down, we're going to go ahead and finish the rest of the holes for the male side of the snap. Normally you would sew in whatever color thread would match your garment the best, but I sewed here in pink just so you could see it more clearly. And now that I'm done, I can tie off a knot in the back. When we look at the back side of the fabric, we really want to have the least amount of thread showing possible. And if you're sewing a garment that's multiple layers, you shouldn't be able to see any thread at all. Next, we've moved on to the female side. And as you can see, I'm using the exact same procedure that I used on the male side. One of the biggest mistakes I always see my students make is sewing this side of the snap wrong side up. So make sure you double check that the hole is facing upwards and not downwards towards the fabric. Since I know you've already got the steps down pat, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward to the end of this side. As I tie off the thread in the back, I'm just going to give you a few important notes about snaps. Snaps come in an incredibly large variety of sizes, from 1/4 inch all the way up to 2 inches wide. The larger the snap, the more holes it'll have around the edge and the more sewing you'll have to do to make sure it stays in place. You can also find snaps in a variety of materials, from brass to metal, black, silver, and even clear ones. Now that we've tested that our snap works properly, our lesson on snap closures has come to an end. So thanks again for stopping by Meghan Grace DIY, and make sure you hit the subscribe and the notify button. Happy sewing everybody, and hopefully see you soon.